My name is Tenley Schmeida, and I keep bees. I keep them on my roof. I keep honeybees, and I love them. So let's learn about some bees. There are honeybees, there are bumblebees, there are sweat bees, and they all do different jobs, but one of the main uniting functions of a bee is pollination. And they pollinate because they have fuzzy bodies, and we really need them to pollinate all the flowers of the world. Some of the flowers of the world. Some are pollinated by wind. Metamorphosis is when an insect goes from an egg to a larva to a pupa to a full-grown adult, and that's called a complete metamorphosis. So keeping bees, I have to do inspections a lot, and generally what you do in an inspection is you go into the hive and you're looking for generally some important signs. So you may not see the queen, but you'll see signs of the queen. So you want to look for eggs. You're looking in the frames, you're holding them up, you're looking at them, and you're trying to see eggs. If you can see eggs, it means that you had a queen lay eggs within 3 days. So that generally means you have a queen in your hive, which is very important. Sometimes if you don't see any signs of queen, you have problems, and you'll need to fix those problems. So bees communicate with each other using pheromones, and they all have different pheromones that they give off. The queen gives off a queen-right pheromone that actually keeps the worker bees from laying eggs. She's the only one that can lay fertile eggs. And if she dies or leaves and the hive is unable to requeen itself, without her pheromones, you can end up with laying worker bees, which is a bad thing because they can't fertilize their eggs, so they only lay drones, and then your hive is basically doomed because drones can't forage, they can't build comb, they can't take care of the hive. So that's an important, very important pheromone for the queen to make. There are other pheromones such as open brood pheromone, which is when there's larvae growing in the honeycomb, and that also prevents laying workers. There's the alarm pheromone called the alamone, and that's when something goes wrong and they alert each other, or if a bee stings you, her releasing her stinger releases that pheromone, and that's why when you're inspecting a hive, you use the smoker, because the smoke covers up that pheromone, and it also tells the bees that their hive is on fire. So they need to run around and start eating all the honey. And they're putting it in their belly in case they have to escape. So that's why we use a smoker, to cover up those pheromones. So honeybees have both mandibles and proboscis. Their mandibles are pretty small. And they use those to manipulate baby bees. They create wax from their abdomen, and they'll take that wax and they'll mush it around with their mandibles, and they'll make those little hexagons that we all know so well. They also have proboscises, which are really big tongues that they use to stick deep inside flowers to get the nectar. And that's also how they communicate with each other. They will share the honey between them. Let's talk about antennae. So antennae are what bees sort of use to interact with the world. That's where they sense the pheromones. They sense those through the antennae. They can use those to touch things. Bees have a reflex where if you touch sugar or honey to their antenna, they automatically stick out their tongue. So if you ever see a bee on the ground, you can get a Q-tip of honey and touch it to their antenna and watch their tongue come out.
I am. Go.
Hi guys. Hi. I hope you liked today's videos about bees and their body parts and the interview and all that kind of stuff about bees. And here's just some shots of bees just like walking around doing their normal thing.